Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to draw Batman in a comic book style. Let's get into it. If you enjoy, consider leaving a like and subscribing with notifications on, as it does help us out a lot. Thank you. So as always, we're going to start drawing out the basic pose. Now, the lighting here is not very good. I have tried my best to make the lines show up as well as possible, but I will show what it looks like at the end of this step. So we're just starting out drawing the head and the rib cage with shoulders. And now we're just moving down to the hips. Again, just a few circles. And now for the arms. And again with the legs, I have done videos on these before, so I will leave links in the description and in the card above. So we're just finishing off with details on the hands. These are pretty difficult, so if you do want to just leave all of them in shadow, feel free to do that. If it helps you out, then that's absolutely fine. And we're just finishing off with doing some details on the face, and always remember that the head should be roughly a third of the width of the shoulders, and the body should be about 8 heads tall. Okay, moving on to the details on the costume. We're mainly going to focus on his mask here, since most of Batman's costume is fairly plain. Yeah, I haven't used a reference on this. I'm mostly making it up as I go along for the helmet, mask. Okay, now we're going to move on to inking with all the muscle definitions and just outlining all of the main shapes. So starting off with the chest, you can just follow along here, but if you have other ways of inking, you could use you could make the lines less prominent. It's really up to you. I use quite deep shadows if I'm drawing Batman, but if you want to use lighter ones, then that's completely up to you. Moving on to the arm, we're just going to give a rough outline of where everything should be and around the cape. Now for the legs, again, going around the muscles. I've done a video on this, as I've said before. Check that out if you are struggling and haven't seen it before. Same with the other leg. And now onto the mask, pretty much just going over the whole shape of it, and yeah, there's not much to say here. You can copy this if you would like to. I would recommend doing that, or you could go by yourself if you do know what you're doing. Okay, we're just still adding in some details of his face and eyes. Okay, moving on to step 4, we're going into shadows. Now, I have done a video on shadows before. I don't quite cover all of like the human body and stuff, but I've done another video on the human body, so that's alright. But if you do want to use this one, then go ahead, do that. It's really up to you. So with the chest muscles here, fairly simple, but we are leaving a little edge light along the bottom of them just to add a little more of a 3D effect to it. The same with the rib cage and Now moving down to the sides, these are mostly going to be in shadow because there aren't many like prominent muscles, so I would just recommend shading it all in. Going to the abdominal muscles, these are fairly simple. Just shade all of them in as if they're as if they're individual shapes. Okay, we're just gonna go in adding some more finer details here, and moving on to the cape. I'm not the best at doing this, but it's going to be a lot tighter, and there's going to be a lot more wrinkles towards the top. Because as it flows down, it has more area to spread out, and it's going to be a lot flatter there. Okay, with the shoulders and the neck muscles, you can follow along here if you want to, or you can have it a lot more simple because it's going to be covered by the more rubbery area of his costume, so if you don't want as many details showing, that's completely up to you. Now for the legs, again we're just shading in all of the individual muscles as if they are individual shapes. Okay, so we're just going to be finishing up the legs here with the knees. I usually just add shading just below the knee, so I split it up into two parts and leave one side highlighted and the other side in shadow. And remember to leave a little rim around the edge just to add a little more just to add the effect of a backlight. Moving on to the head, I wasn't completely happy with my design of the head, so I'm going to add a lot of shadow to this and pretty much black out the entire thing. But again, you don't have to do that, it's really up to you. Okay, with the hand, I'm not having as much detail as I would like on this because, again, the gloves or gauntlets Batman wears usually don't show the muscle definition through it. But if you are using a more lightweight suit in your design, then go ahead and do whatever you would like to it. Okay, with the other hand, I'm going to add a little bit more detail on this because it is going to be facing the light a little bit more, so there are going to be a few more highlights on it than with the other one. And yeah, we're just going in. I did mess up here with the hand a little bit, but you can easily fix it if you just use a combination of more shadows and more highlights. Now we're moving on to the line shading, and I'm just, I have one tip, and that is to, instead of following the light, I would suggest following the shape of the object. So if you're drawing a sphere, your line shading would be curved instead of flat, just to make it look a lot more like a sphere rather than a flat circle. Okay, with the line shading on the head, I will be adding a few little lines here and there for little like scratches or damage to the cowl, but nothing too much because it does kind of break up the mask a little bit more and it doesn't look as nice in my opinion. With the cape, I'm doing a lot more cross-hatching instead of single lines because my cape is going to be more fabric-y, so I'm going to show like some of the weaves on it instead of the flat material of the rest of the suit. Okay, here with the legs, I am actually following the light a little bit more, having it go further up instead of completely curving around, but it is up to you if you want to have it fully curve around or not. But yeah, I'm just gonna speed this up and you can follow along with it if you want to slow it down. But yeah, let's carry on with it. Okay, so now we're just adding in some wrinkles. These will just give it a little bit more of a costume effect, so like you won't have it completely flat against your skin, it's going to wrinkle up a bit. Now we're moving on to the bat symbol on his chest. I did not use a reference again for this, I mostly just made it up. But if you do see a similarity with this suit and a different one, then please let me know in the comments below. Okay, now onto the cape. I'm using a thick marker, but because I'm using a Sharpie for the rest of the shadows, it will look a little bit weird because the paint marker that I'm using is completely opaque. However, the Sharpie markers are like translucent, so the cape will look a lot darker than the rest of the suit, which can look quite nice, but if you want it to look like all the same, then I would recommend buying a standard wide marker instead of a paint marker. Okay, now we're adding some more line shading on the cape itself, and I've decided to go for these kind of lines or ridges along the inside of the cape. I'm not sure why I did this, I just thought it would look cool. But I'm not sure if any Batman actually does have ridges like this on his cape. Again, let me know in the comments if you do know one. But yeah. Okay, now we're moving on to showing some veins on the character. Now I'm adding a vein on the bicep and having that just kind of branch out around his arm a little bit and up onto his shoulder. And I'm also adding one on the gauntlet. Okay, so finally we're going to move on to doing his utility belt. For the third time, I wasn't using a reference, I just made this up as I was doing it. So we're doing a fairly simple design for the pouches around the outside, just a few little straps and buttons. So yeah, since it is metal, we are going to add a few little lines dotted around it just to show some like scuff marks. But if you're using a different material for your belt, then that's absolutely fine. Okay, and finally we're going to add a little bit of stubble or facial hair for Batman. And there is the finished product. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a like on the video, subscribe for more, and turn on the notifications in case you miss the next video. But without further ado, I'll see you in the next one. Hi, and welcome to the first end card. I just want to let you guys know again that we are streaming. I haven't done anything yet because I've been figuring out how to do it. I'm not very experienced with Twitch at all at the minute, but we're getting there, and hopefully I will be able to get a PC sometime that can handle proper streaming, so we will be playing some games maybe, but that's in the future for now. And yeah, it's going to be really fun, so if you want to join us, then the link will be the first one in the description. I highly recommend you doing that, as you can see us drawing in real time, and I just think you'll find it a lot more helpful. So if you do have some time, it will be at roughly 8 PM British time, so if you have time, then feel free to check us out, and yeah, I'll see you next time.